my perspective as someone engaged in African politics and concerned about issues related to African women in politics, I feel like it's a very timely piece because all over the continent we see movements of women's groups working very hard on the platform of peace. And so this is very timely in that sense. And it also shows very much, although Rose's children in many ways are lucky, I think, among Congolese children who many times suffer much more dire fates, forced and extensive child soldiering. Any of those little boys could have been involved in that, and sex camps and et cetera are very common in the Congolese conflict. But I really love the way that the film shows both the suffering of people, of war refugees as they resettle, and yet also the resilience and the possibility for what they can give back to the communities they came from. So I was wondering if you might just share with us a little bit about how you came to the story.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you so much for being here tonight as well, and thank all of you. Big thanks to Brattleboro Museum and Independent Lens, where the film aired. So I work at Arts Engine Big Mouth Films, which is a production company in New York City. And I love Brattleboro, so I was very excited to see the film was screening here, because any excuse to get me to Brattleboro is a good excuse to me. So we do many things there, but one thing that we really strive to do when making social issue documentaries is look for an intimate story that can sort of tell a narrative and keep audiences engaged, that can shed light on larger issues, whether it be women's empowerment or peace and reconciliation or refugee rights. So we're actually not looking for a film about any of these things. We're researching subjects for films, in particular social entrepreneurs, and we met Sasha Chanoff, who was inspired after meeting Rose in a refugee camp and hearing of her story about naming her twins after the commanders who killed her husband in an act of forgiveness, to pull every string possible to get Rose and her then 9 children resettled to the US. And he told us Rose's amazing story, and we thought, wow, my co-director and I, this is quite some story, but what is that? What are people going to want to see for an hour and a half or an hour? And Sasha said, well, I don't know if this is interesting to you, but Rose was resettled here with 9 of her children, and she was separated from a 10th child who she's now going to be reunited with. And we said, oh, that's it. That's the universal point of access that everyone can relate to. And we said, so when is the reunion? And he said, about a week and a half. And we said, And thus became one of the crazier week and a halves in my life. But we were able to get a little startup money, and basically we filmed with Nangabire. I didn't, but we had a crew film with Nangabire. And then our first shoot day was with their reunion. So it was amazing.